Good morning, lifter. Thanks for tuning in. It's great to see you again. Today, I'm 60 years old and I've been lifting since 1980, or it might have been very early 1981. So it was one of the 2 years. So it's been like 45 years now I've been lifting. So I'm just going to run you through what we used to do in the old school. Now everybody talks about old school and how much better it was. Well, I'm going to show you today that it wasn't better. It was much harder. Everything was more difficult. The only gym that was close to where I lived was an hour and a half's drive, and I didn't have a license back then, so I used to go with some guys that did have a license, and it was in what we called the city. It was the only place that had traffic lights, so we called it the city. And it was in a gymnasium, not a gym as we know it, but it's a gymnasium. So they had the horse and they had the 2 rings that hung from the ceiling, and they had the parallel bars, and they had the floor with the mats on it that everybody did it. And the only equipment there was a flat bench, there was an incline bench, there was a squat rack, and there was a power rack. And I think there were about 5 sets of dumbbells, and that was a gym back then, and it was an amazing place. Nothing like you guys have got now. You're totally spoiled. So the first time I went into a gym was with some martial arts guys of mine, some friends, and we were doing sit-ups and push-ups, and some big dudes come over and said, well, what are you guys doing? And we explained to them and showed them through some of the moves that we do in martial arts, and they took us under their wing and they showed us what we're supposed to be doing in a gym. So I'll show you a classic old school, we still do it today, but a classic old school where we're doing chest and triceps with what equipment we had back then compared to today. You'll be amazed at how much stuff you had today. So we had a flat bench like we've got here today. So we're going to do some classic bench press like we always do. So nothing much has changed over the years. So even back then, we used to do like between 10, 15 reps and just set the weight up. But the thing we did do differently, because there wasn't a pec deck and because there weren't dumbbells and because there weren't cables, no cables in the gym, there were no pin-loaded machines, they didn't exist. So we did 8 sets of 10 reps. Rather than, your classic 3 or 4 and then move on to another machine, we only just did 1 machine for bench, 1 machine for chest. So, and if you're wondering why I'm doing it so light, well, I'm 60 and I've got arthritis in one shoulder, so I don't do bench at all anymore. So I'm just running you through the moves. Bench press is something I do not do anymore at all. So I'm just showing you today what we used to do, just to run through the nostalgia of it, I guess. So this is like set 2. And the other difference too, guys, was, like I said, the first time I was in a gym, we were there for an actual martial arts tournament. And that was later on in the afternoon, and we turned up early. We decided we'd go through the gym and just do some push-ups and maybe some punching on a bag and stuff. And these guys, they showed us what we were supposed to be doing in a gym. And then they said, well, what are you guys doing for lunch? And we said, well, we were going to go down to the beach and have fish and chips. I didn't have any money, so I had a Vegemite sandwich. And they said, well, come over to our place and we'll give you some lunch. So we went over to their place, and there were 6 guys who were into the gym, all living in the one house. It's like pumping iron back in, if you've ever seen the movie, well, that's what it was like for everybody back then. So 6 guys, and 4 of them had their girlfriends living in the house, and they were dancers and so forth. So it was like very fitness orientated in that house. And they made us lunch, and it was steaks and potato and rice and salad, and we didn't even have that stuff for dinner in my house, and they were eating it for lunch. So like, it was a totally amazing experience to be subjected to what a real bodybuilder back in the 80s was doing. And this was early 80s, it would just turn from the 79 into 80. So they were still dedicated even way back then, you know. So I'll do my third set and we'll stop at that, but we used to do eight sets. And another thing that's different, old school to today, guys, is that everybody always had a training partner, at least one, that you always trained with at the gym. Today, just about everybody trains on their own, I've noticed. If I'm going to the gym, I always go with a partner. I have plenty of people want to train with me. Most of them are my age, but I do have guys who are in their 20s and they want to train with me, learn what I've learnt, you know, the same as I'm teaching you guys. Anyhow, the next thing we're going to do is close grip bench press. Like I said, no cables for doing cable pull downs, no dumbbells for doing over the head dumbbells. You couldn't do any type of moves that you would do with the dumbbells. There might have been 5 sets, but that's all there was, very limited stuff. So we used to stay on the same bench and we just do close grip bench press. No pin loaded machines. It was very primitive back then, guys. When people tell you it was so much better in old school, they're dreaming, or they've forgotten what it was really like. So, this is our chicken coop gym, obviously, guys, that we built from the ground up. If you go back through some of the early videos, you'll see how we built it and how we did it. But you can see that, you know, back in the old school days, this is all we had. So you have a look at pictures of Arnold and Lou Ferrino and Franco Colombo and guys of that age, and you think, oh man, they're nothing like today's bodybuilders. Well, they had nothing like today's bodybuilders have got. So they did really well with the limited stuff they had. I'll do another set. And again, we would do 8 of that, and we always finished every workout back in the old days, old school days, we always finished with sit-ups. We're not going to do sit-ups here today, but that's how we finished it. Hopefully I've walked you through any of that. Any questions from the wife?
I guess the main thing would be then, the real difference would be that perhaps they talk about is the camaraderie.
The camaraderie, yeah, definitely.
Nowadays it's all single
different
people working out, whereas back then it was like at least a pair of
and you knew everybody in the gym and everybody knew you. When you went out to a nightclub, you'd all go as a group. If you went out to dinner, you'd go as a group.
And I guess you also walked each other and the new people through the correct way to use the equipment.
Always, yeah. Yeah, it was always free information. Whatever you learned, you'd freely give to somebody else. Like I remember, we went out to dinner one time. This is later. Would have been mid-90s, late 90s, somewhere there, and we went as a group and we went to an all-you-could-eat, and we turned up at the beginning of lunch and we left when it closed at the end of dinner, and we just ate the whole way through. Admittedly, we cheated. We had what was called in the day hydrochloric acid tablets. You'd take them and they'd help you digest food a lot easier. You can't get them anymore. They were great for somebody who was ectomorph, can't eat enough. You take a hydrochloric acid tablet and you could just continue eating all day. So we amazed some people with the amount of food we used to eat back in the day. But yeah, definitely there was a camaraderie. We stuck together. Anywhere we went as a group, and it was like, you know, all these bodybuilders hanging out together. We scared the hell out of everybody, you know. They were great times, but what you guys have got today is even better, you know. It's a shame you don't mix and mingle more, but you know, there's always a paradigm shift in everything. So hopefully you got something out of this. You've learned what we used to do in the old days, how we used to do it. Train hard, live life. Thanks, guys.